Sufi vibes at Gulam Zanji Oracle Tharpa, and today I am presentation on a bait of Shah Abdul Latif Pitai from his Surah Leela Chanesar. So the bait is very much heart touching, and it is good narration and the character of Leela. So Shah Abdul Latif Pitai has suggested Leela that Chanesar is a diversified and versatile person. The other people are only red and white. Why you have broken that relationship and touched the necklace? So that bet is Chanesar Chaurang Barang Lokbyo. Chanesar is with four colors. Chanesar has four colors. Chanesar is versatile. Barango Lokbyo. The people have two colors. They live in positivity and negativity. They live in day and night. They live in contradictions. You have broken the relationship with the person and have touched to the necklace. Why? So, in this way, Chanesar possesses four dimensions or qualities where the other people are merely true colored. And that versatility of Chanesar keeps Chanesar at higher position than the common people. And Shalatif advises and asks even questions Leela that why should you sacrifice such a rich relationship and concern yourself and connect yourself with the necklace instead. The crucial phrase or first phrase or the key phrase of the Ved is Chanesar Chaurang. Here, Chaurang is not simply means as four colored, but it is a figurative characterization of Chanesar. It means Chanesar has many dimensions. If Barango signifies a person who has two faces, qualities, and tendencies, then Chaurang elevates Chanesar above ordinary people. He possesses greater complexity, he possesses richness, and he possesses multiplicity of qualities. This creates a deliberate numerical contrast. Chanesar is Chaurang are four colored, Biu, Lok, Birango are two colored. The number is therefore rhetorically significant. It means Chanesar is double in qualities in comparison with the other people. Barango Lokubyo. Here, Barango means the other people are the masses are the other people, as Koru was also included in it. The line contrasts Chanesar with ordinary people. The philosophical implication is do not measure Chanesar by the standards by which you judge ordinary people. Because ordinary people live in contradictions, they live in day and night, they live in yes and no, they live in positivity and negativity. Chanesar is being it. Chanesar is presented as a person whose worth exceeds ordinary people, ordinary worldly alternatives. The two colors can suggest the limited or divided nature of ordinary human beings, while Chanesar's four colors suggest greater depth, complexity, and capacity. Tensa Chini Sang. This is the emotional center of the faith. Why you are tearing the relationship with them. The poet is effectively asking, if Chanesar is so superior to ordinary people, why you abandon the relationship with him? This introduced the central theme of misplaced valuation. The problem is not merely that relationship has ended. The problem is that you abandoned something exceptionally valuable for something materially insignificant. In this case, that was a necklace. So, har as the immediate object of attachment. Now, your clarification makes har hath choe is particularly important. The har refers to the necklace associated with Leela Chanesar's episode, and it was taken by Koru, and Leela has purchased, bought or bartered that necklace against the one night of Chanesar. Leela's attachment to the necklace represents a crucial moment in the narrative. Material possession becomes more important than the emotional marital relationship. Thus, the poet creates a sharp contrast. Chanesar and Har. Between Chanesar and Har are human relationship and material object. And the tragic irony is the relationship is sacrificed for the sake of object. That is very much ironical to the human relationship and sentiments. When you are Hatsuchue, with you went to touch, handle the necklace. This is crucial because Hatsuchuan conveys physical contact with the material object. The philosophical contrast becomes Chanesar is a human, Chanesar is relational, Chanesar is emotional, Chanesar is valuable, Chanesar is irreparable. However, Har is material, Har is external, Har is possessible, Har is replaceable. Yet Leela's attention becomes directed towards the material object rather than the human relationship. The philosophical core are misplaced value. This makes the Ved powerful critic of material attachment. The fundamental question is why sacrifice a valuable human relationship for a material possession? That is the key question of this whole story. The Ved therefore presents a hierarchy. Chanesar is greater than the ordinary people, and ordinary people are the greater than the material necklace. But Leela reverses this hierarchy, and she is motivated to take the necklace. So, necklace becomes first top priority before her, and then immediate attention, then Chanesar, then abundant relationship. That reversal creates the tragedy of the separation between Leela and Chanesar. Materialism versus relationship. The Ved can consequently be interpreted as an early critic of materialism. Material objects have monetary value, material objects have aesthetic value, material objects have symbolic value. But a genuine relationship possesses emotional value, moral value, existential value. When a person gives priority to the object over the relationship, values become inverted. This is precisely what makes Leela's action tragic. Psychological interpretation of this Ved will be that the Ved reveals an important psychological phenomenon, and that phenomenon is immediate attraction versus enduring value. So here again, the slip of human inclination matters, that he moves towards immediate attraction, and he forgets or she forgets that enduring value of that relationship. The necklace provides an immediate sensory attraction because human perception is guided by the sensory organs. And beyond to those sensory organization, a few people think in this way. So Chanesar represents a deeper relational value. Human beings can sometimes sacrifice long-term value for short-term desire. In a contemporary psychological language, thus can be understood as a conflict between immediate gratification versus long-term relational well-being. Shalatif compresses this entire psychological conflict into the contrast between har and sang. At one hand, there is a sangha relationship, and the other hand, there is necklace. The significance of numbers 4 and 2. The numerical contrast deserves constructing a comparative hierarchy. Chanesar is represented as multiplicity and richness. Other people are by a more than they have the people. Therefore, abundant him becomes even more irrational. So Shalativ here constructs rational argument. Ethical philosophy of relationship or ornament, inner worth or material beauty, lasting companionship or temporary attraction. Leela's tragedy arises because the hierarchy of values becomes if it were not being distorted, then there will be no that tragedy between Leela and Chanesar. Sufi interpretation of this breath will be that the necklace is worldly attachment, symbol of worldly attachment. Chanesar as the beloved and can represent the beloved. The philosophical movement then becomes beloved, relationship, and worldly object. The seeker becomes distracted by the object and neglects the relationship with the beloved. This is classic Sufi problem. The sign is mistaken for the reality. The sign is mistaken for the reality. Image is being followed while the reality is being ignored. The material object becomes more important than the spiritual relationship it was supposed to symbolize. Modern relevance of this faith will be the faith is remarkably relevant to contemporary consumer culture and consumer society wherein we are living. The har can be compared with modern symbols of status, luxury brands, expensive jewelry, cars, and motorbikes, smartphones, designer clothing, social media status. The modern version of the question would be why sacrifice a genuine relationship for a material possession? Why we are trampling human values, those we have been created in society, and why we are trampling those values against a tree, benefits, or things. Powerful critic of consumerism and status driven. Are living in consumer driven and status driven culture and social oriented by social media and even dictated by social media. Linguistic contrast between the keywords is Chanesar and Leela, Chaurang and other people, Chaurang and Barang, and Sang and Har, to touch and to tear out, Chinan and Chuan. So it becomes relationship versus material possession. it reflects deeper irony. The irony of the Ved is that Leela has something extraordinarily valuable, Janesa, but becomes preoccupied with something materially valuable, that's the necklace. And that is the great irony of this Ved. The poet simply asks, how can a person fail to recognize the greater value that is already present? Why he ignores that value that is already established? This is not simply a story about Leela. It is a story about human beings misrecognizing value. Central thesis of this book will be Shabdulati Bhichai establishes a hierarchy between Chanesar and ordinary human beings through the contrast of four colored and two colored. It means versatility with only two characteristics. It is represented as possessing a richness and complexity beyond that of ordinary people. The rhetorical question Taisa Chini Sang then exposes the irrationality of abandoning such an exceptional relationship. The final image of touching the necklace introduces the central conflict between human relationship and material possessions. At the one end, it is to tear out, to break the relationship, and on the other end, to touch the necklace. At the ethical and Sufi level, the Ved critics misplaced priorities. The human and spiritual value of love is sacrificed for the immediate attraction of worldly object. In one sentence, we can say that Latif's central question is, why abandon an exceptionally valuable human relationship for the temporary attraction of a material possession? That is the question pertinent even in this consumer society of present day world. That interpretation makes materialism, misplaced priorities, and the failure to recognize true value the central philosophical themes of this book. So it is all about the priorities. When we neglect and forget priorities, then whatsoever we develop that takes us to the disasters, to the destruction, to the disturbance. If we do consider the priorities when we are choosing anything, either there are three choices, four choices, five choices, or more than that, we must think of priority. We must think that whatsoever we are choosing, either it will be beneficial in long run for us, or we are breaking any relationship. So here it creates the contrast and contradiction between the two things. Chanesar Chaurang Barang Lokme. On the one side, there is the Chanesar and his personality is versatile, while on the other hand, there are the people, and Kauru is part of those people, and those are ordinary and those are two colored people. जैसा छिन्ने हो सके to break the relationship with him, with Chanesar. When you are touching, you are touching the necklace. So these are the different contradictions or polar endings of this bed, and it takes us and guides us that how we can behave ourselves and how we can treat the other people or day-to-day matters of the life, so as we can establish and sustain our relationships. This is very beautiful and enlightened thought of Shabdul in Surlila Chanesar, that Chanesar Chaurang बिरंगो लोक बियो जैसा छिन्यो संग वंजो हार हथ छुए. Thank you very much. Kindly share your feedback too. Thank you.